The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Down.
And we're live.
And we're live.
Maybe. There was a lot of people there.
Okay, this is going to be
people on their cell phones.
This is going to be a fun show. We got an awesome group with us, and this is our Dork-Vania kickoff event.
So excited.
With us today, we have Steve.
Yes.
Parasite Steve
from the Retro Ridoctopus podcast, and I am very excited to be here. And with me is my brother in tentacles, Mr. Boss Rush Mode.
Hello, I'm Boss Rush Mode, and I'm also here.
He's right.
And we also have Patrick from Throwdown Thursday with us.
Hi, everybody. I am sitting on the Cape drinking coffee that my parents just brought me because that's...
And he's also getting eggs soon. None of us are getting eggs. It's not fair.
I'll email you some.
Thanks.
I also want the nickname Castlevania to catch on.
Ooh, that's good.
Ooh.
Castlevania.
And join us on the phone. We have Chris from the Boob's Blood and Badasses podcast.
Hey, I'm sitting here actually in a cemetery across the street from my ex-wife's house, waiting for my kid to come out, drinking a coffee because I'm early. I just thought that'd be like the gothic thing to do.
Speaking of coffee, every show is brought to you by Deadly Grounds Coffee. I'm drinking Death by Chocolate today.
As usual.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you do Witch's Brew.
Yeah, well, I'm almost out of Witch's Brew, and I opened up a bag of cinnamon yesterday, the Sinful Delight. And,
Nice.
Yeah.
Witch's Brew is my
I
fave.
will say,
Dummy.
Chris, if you had stopped with like that first half of that sentence, like I'm sitting in a graveyard across the street from my ex-wife's house, that would have been weird. But like you saved it with that end part.
So
Waiting for my kid.
I got her plot all picked out for her.
The plot thickens.
So we got some people in the chat room. Tom from Deadly Grounds is in the chat room. We have Steve
Hey,
Christina
Tom.
Jr.,
So I better hide my coffee.
Jim Muscatello, Tracy Parkers, and also R.W. Martin. William Pace is asking, "Where's my coffee?" Jim says, "I'll bring the Ouija board." LOL.
Tracy just had a birthday.
She did.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Tracy. And RW has his book coming out soon, or he's putting everything
excellent.
together. Yeah, he's putting everything together, so it's not. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but we're talking about Castlevania today, and so we have this huge event that we've been putting together. It's going to be across 8 different episodes, with the finale happening on, I believe it's the 25th,
Yes.
where we're going to be giving away some awesome prizes. But the show's so it starts off today. We're kicking it off. Then on Wednesday is going to be the Dorkening, and then the third show is Throwdown Thursday on the 12th. That's Ring My Belmonts. What is that all about, Patrick?
We are going to be discussing the actual characters that are the central protagonists of the Castlevania. I almost said Dork-Vania. The Castlevania, mythos, for lack of a better term.
That's a pretty good term, though.
Yeah, Simon and Trevor and Mittens, all the different Belmonts.
Mm-hmm. Juiced Belmont is definitely my favorite Belmont.
I am unfamiliar with him, but we are working
Juiced
through
is a
that.
good one. Mm-hmm. You think I'm
So
bullshitting, but
No, I believe you.
the
And
Game Boy games are a thing.
We're going to have a special guest on with us, James Lamond It Came from the 508. I call him Jimmy Lambs, and you should too. He's going to be on with us because he is a huge Castlevania nerd, and he practically begged us to let him on the show. And I was like, absolutely, because Ashes and I have
Keep begging, but you'll be on.
Yeah, I mean, we have a limited, my experience with Castlevania was really just the first game and the third game, but we've been doing some deep dives into it, and I think it's going to be a really fun show.
Nice.
You know it's going to be a fun show.
I know it.
And then next up is going to be Super Retro Throwback Reviews. They're covering the games 1 through 4. That's going to be on March 15th. And then after that is going to be Retro Ridoctopus.
Yes.
What do you guys got going on?
You want to take this, Boss Rush?
Well, sure. Why not? We'll be talking a lot about the music that has gone across the stretch of Castlevania games throughout the decades it's been around. So we're gonna have each gonna have like a couple of songs that we're gonna pick, and we're gonna talk about the songs, obviously, talk about the games, and just try to give it a little bit more focus to like the music that set the mood, set the atmosphere, to all these great games.
That's right, and we're going to have a special guest, Mr. Ian Wallace from Amalga-Mania and also the Amalga Files right here on the Dorkening. And he's going to be in studio. He's driving up from like Maryland, I'm pretty sure. So pretty cool. And that's
it's really
going to be
Delaware,
awesome.
but I don't think he wants to admit it.
Fair. Yeah, it'd be really
Delaware.
fun. Are you though? Are you in Delaware? No, you're in the Cape.
I'm at the Cape.
Better. It's better.
That's true.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the music of Castlevania. That's gonna be really fun.
Awesome. And then speaking of Amalga-Cast,
It's gonna be music to your ears.
And then they're going to do the Castle to Music-Vania.
Speaking of that, I have to say your promo that you did, Patrick, absolutely killed me. That was freaking hilarious.
Thank you.
I'll add
Thank
it.
you.
I'll add it to this episode. I'll play it a little later. But next up, Amalga-Cast on the 20th. They're going to do a chill review of the Castlevania Netflix series 1, 2, and 3. The first 3 episodes of season 3, and which actually just dropped the other day, which is why we're doing this grand event. Was that Patrick?
I was going to say it dropped March 3rd. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. And then finishing up is Chris with your boobs, blood, and badasses. Chris, what are you going to be covering for Castlevania?
We're going to go into a deep dive of where the monsters, creatures, some of the lore of Castlevania. We're not covering any of the characters, obviously, but any of like the weapons. Where does holy water? Why a whip? You know, why not snakes and crosses? Where does decapitated floating horse heads come from? Where do werewolves come from? Succubuses, Frankenstein's monster, so on and so forth. We're not covering where vampires come from or Dracula. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Cool.
Yeah. So we talked about prizes. So what we're doing, Chris, actually Steve had the awesome idea that each show is going to have a small piece of a sentence, and then you need to listen to all 7 episodes in order to get the full sentence. And if you message me on Facebook the full sentence after all the episodes are done, we're going to pick 3 winners on the finale episode. For some crazy-ass prizes. And we'll be giving the this episode's secret phrase in a little bit. Jim says, why is Dracula a giant floating head in a few games?
Why not?
That comes from that could possibly be from an Asian vampire that's a floating head vampire. I think Thailand has a floating head vampire.
Oh, wow.
Tom, it could also be they were doing a lot of. It could also be they were doing a lot of drugs in the '80s when they developed the Castlevania game. So,
where the coke flowed like wine.
I don't know if drugs and video games match up together. I don't know if that works together.
No.
Winners don't do drugs. I saw that on several video game cabinets in the '90s.
Oh, I'm so glad you were paying attention, Patsy. Castlevania.
So one thing that we noticed after we put the whole collaboration together is nobody was covering Symphony of the Night. So we figured we would talk about it on the premiere episode.
Greatest game ever.
Okay, so I have some very sad news. I never played it until this event.
Wow.
And I am so.
But you've played it, right?
I've definitely played it.
All right. So at least you've rectified that.
Oh yeah. No, as soon as we started kicking off the event, I picked up the collection on Steam, and then Symphony of the Night, and then I forgot what other game comes with it on PS4. And
Rondo of Blood.
Rondo of Blood. Yeah. So I didn't play Rondo of Blood yet. I've just been I'm so sucked into Symphony of the Night. It's just holy shit. I'm so pissed off at myself for missing this game.
Wow.
Which one is Symphony of the Night? Remind me, because I've been playing a bunch of these because
Symphony of the Night is the Metroidvania Castlevania that kickstarted that whole mapping system in Metroid style Castlevania games.
So it came out for the PS1, and it was kind of like early-ish in the PS1 where there were still some sprite-based games that were coming out, and that just is kind of regarded as the great return of Castlevania of that day, and also it's the pretty much the pinnacle of sprite artistry on the PlayStation 1. It's just, because everything, when I say sprites, I don't know if you guys know, it's like hand-drawn, pixel by pixel artwork. Nothing, no polygons. There are some polygons in the game, but very little. It's mostly sprite-based, which is what all video games were up to that point. Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Yeah, almost those cartridge-based games.
Right. So everybody had to literally draw every graphic just dot by dot, basically pixel by pixel. And you had a certain amount of colors you had to work with depending on the system. And the PlayStation had vastly more colors than the 16-bit generation did. So it really was this just unbelievably gorgeous thing that, existed. And it was all just very handmade. It has that. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I love about it is this beautiful handmade artisan thing. And, it also is the beginning of the artist Ayami Kojima working with the series, I believe. Am I wrong on that, Greg? I think that was the first one.
If it's not the beginning, it's very close to it. I mean, I don't know 100% for sure, but. And
she's the one that is the artist of all the sort of androgynous-looking Castlevania characters that became so intrinsically linked with the series. That started there. Earlier games depicted the Belmonts as Conan the Barbarian looking type guys wearing, loincloths and leather armor and stuff. And they really, I actually saw a picture of Schwarzenegger's Conan recently next to an old picture of Simon Belmont. It's like, oh, that's clearly what they were going for.
Right.
He's not shirtless, but it's the same sort of thing, same leather headband and she really changed things. She brought in this gothic sensibility, and the character's very androgynous. And Alucard, who is at this point a popular character, and is really, really big in the cartoon series. He's from Castlevania 3, but in Castlevania 3, he kind of just looked like a Bela Lugosi sort of Dracula. He was just short black hair, slicked back. He had a cape. He just looked like a younger, Bela Lugosi type. And this was the first game where she made him, beautiful with long hair, and just basically everything we know about Alucard now, comes from that game. So
yeah, and I think I prefer that style. Like it's more realistic. And well, it was funny because Ashes and I were watching the show last night because she hadn't seen it yet. And we figured that's probably a good place to start when you're trying to learn about some of the characters. And he's like, my name is Alucard. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, Alucard? Like, seriously?
I'm my dad.
I'm the opposite of my dad.
What if your dad named Bob?
I too am named Bob.
What was that, Chris?
Well, his name's Adrian. His real name's Adrian.
That was also the game where people really stood up and noticed the music for the first time, because, the music had always been complimented on, but that game had an orchestral score that nobody had done in video games up to that point. It was unbelievable. I want to say that came out before the Ocarina of Time, but I'm not 100% sure.
Actually, before that, there was for the TurboGrafx CD, you had Ease. Book 1 and 2, which had amazing orchestral music. But
it really did.
But the TurboGrafx sadly wasn't a huge seller, and then PlayStation dominated.
That's right. Actually,
and it had that. That opening sequence. The opening sequence with Richter, you had that guitar riff. It was unbelievable.
Totally.
Yeah. Symphony of the Night definitely it sort of was a combination of this orchestra and heavy metal, which was really different for the time and new for the series. But Rondo of Blood, the other game that comes with Symphony on that collection that you have, Leo, that was actually for the Turbo Duo. So that was wow. That was the TurboGrafx 16 CD-ROM, but that system just didn't take off. but it was this beloved game, and for years it was like only the, you know, it was a deep dive sort of a game that not a lot of people got to play, but heard was really good. And you know, now it's available, and it, you know, it had been made available before. It wasn't out for PSP. Boss Rush, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
But you know, but it's a great game, and that's actually where Richter came from. The character Richter Belmont, who's the one who wears blue, and he's the character that you start out with in Symphony of the Night for just like 1 second when he's doing like the James scene. He's doing the James Bond thing. He's like at the tail end of one of his missions, and then it kind of switches and you become Alucard. But like, you know, he was also in Dracula X for Super Nintendo, but that was actually like a watered down reworking port of Rondo of Blood because they couldn't fit it all onto the Super Nintendo, I guess. And it's a vastly different game. It's just
it really is. It's almost like a reimagine. I don't even want to say reimagining. It is almost like completely different.
It really is. $150. Like, you know, the game, the character sprites of him are the same, and you know, there's, you know, some enemies and tiles and stuff, but it's really different. I mean, Rondo has a whole system. There are like villagers you can save, and there's keys you can open doors with. It's really like a very deep game.
Yeah, alternate routes through levels.
Oh, right. Like harkening back to number 3.
So I have to admit, when I started playing, I restarted the game like 4 times before I realized you could save. Like those save rooms. I'm like, holy shit!
He was going old school. He's like, you know, 3 lives and that's it.
Well, I mean, you know, before that, I was playing 1 and 2, and like 1 was insanely hard, and then I have several hours into 2. 2 is up until Symphony of the Night. 2 was my favorite.
I don't like 2.
You don't like 2?
A lot of people don't. Myself, but it's such a vastly different game and such a huge like undertaking for Konami to do at that time, especially with 1 being so popular to stray so far from that formula is actually you know, quite, you know, remarkable.
Then you go right back to 3 and it's like the same like platform game again, which I really like.
Go back to what worked before.
Yeah, well, I just like being able to switch because I love Grant. I love sticking to the wall. Like, oh, I can help you. I'm very fast. Also, I'm Spider-Man for some reason. He doesn't mention that when you go to pay. It's like, I can help you. I'm very fast. It's like, oh, I guess. But, and then like you're climbing up, you're hanging on walls upside down. It's like, wait, what?
He's like, also, I'm rich.
Yeah, that's not a superpower.
No, he's Grant.
Oh,
it is if you're Batfleck.
And then you get to be Cypher after that, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, you know, shooting energy blasts at people.
More magic spelly kind of attacks.
Yeah.
And then Alucard, who's got crappy weapons and he's a much bigger target. And if he turns into a bat,
he's really slow, and he can be a bat, but it's almost useless because it takes so many hearts.
Right.
Good idea.
Alucard got much better in Symphony of the Night.
He sure did.
So
either way, it was fun.
Comeback of the year.
It was still fun being a Dracula-like character, though. In 3, it was just bad execution. It was a good idea.
It was a good idea.
One of the things I just learned is I never knew this until I just got the collection. When you get the little like Roman numeral 2 and 3, I was like, I don't know what this does. Like, it's not a power up. Like, I don't know what this does. So apparently, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it allows you to throw multiple.
Both of you.
Yes. Yeah, it allows you to throw multiple of your special weapons.
The sub weapon.
Like one at a time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have a favorite sub weapon?
Good question.
I like the boomerang.
In the first game, it was always holy water because it was just so OP. And you basically, like, it froze everyone in place and it just kept damaging him over time. So it's like, okay, I'm basically God here, so just die.
That's a good
Other than that, I like the axes if I wanted a more fair weapon.
I always like the boomerang. The
boomerang is really good too.
The boomerang cross is my fave too.
Yeah.
Leo,
I love the boomerang cross too. I always found myself, if I wasn't using holy water, I just liked having axes because there's so many enemies like above you and like, just just the range, the vertical range of it was always just useful for me.
In Symphony, I'm loving the diamond that like bounces off everything.
It bounces off the floor and that's a pretty neat weapon.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I used to use in Symphony, but like I would just grind for the Chrysogrim and like I don't need a sub weapon. I've got the most OP weapon in the history of the franchise.
Which weapon's that?
The Chrysogrim sword.
Chrysogrim sword.
You get it in the once you find the inverted castle, you have to go into the library and you get it from the Shmoo. And once that drops, that's it. The game's broken.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like with Symphony of the Night, that was also the first game where enemy drops were like a thing. So earlier they might drop a heart or something like that, but now in Symphony, they could drop any number of things, and the game has it figured out, but you don't know what it is. So you don't know if they're going to maybe drop food, a certain, like the food is funny. There's like a ton of random food items. And then there's like, you could get a weapon, you could get a shield, you could get whatever, but certain enemies in that game are only in like one spot. And the Shmoo that Boss Rush was just saying, yeah, you got to go to the inverted castle at the end, go to the library. It's this goofy looking ghost, and he's called the Shmoo. And if you kill about 200 of them, you might get lucky, and he might drop the sword, the Chrysogrim, and it's like the greatest weapon in the game.
Good.
Yeah, you swing it, and it has like 7 or 8 like little like it's like a super fast Vorpal kind of. Where it's like 7 or 8 trails of like sword happen in front of you, and you can also move while you're not stationary while swinging it. You run around, you're mobile while doing it. You basically just have this ridiculously powerful force of attack in front of you at all times. You just keep wailing on the button, and it's just ridiculously overpowered.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like imagine the attack in Strider.
Oh yeah,
Strider. That was like that big slash, like really big slash.
Yeah,
it's almost
the attack in
like
Strider times like 5.
Yeah, but 5. Yeah.
So I'm nowhere near that. I just got to the first warp zone.
Okay.
I just
now you can save. Now you know you can save.
I've been saving quite a bit, and I've been trying to find those rooms. I just got the basic map, and I met the librarian.
What can I do for you?
And I just love the RPG elements. I think that's why I really enjoy 2 so much, because it was more of an RPG game.
Definitely.
1, I remember I only beat it once, and but it took me about 13 hours, and I had to like pause it. I went to bed, woke up in the morning, continued playing, and that was just an insanely hard game, and I don't think I played it up until recently after I beat it.
You took the soul to Deborah Cliff, you summoned the whirlwind, you did all the stuff.
Jim,
I knew there was somebody behind me. Say hi to Hobbs.
Hey, Hobbs.
Jim says, so much for combos, button mashing for the win. And
Yes.
my phone acted up, so I'm going to try to get Chris back. While I do that, I'm going to play a quick ad for Deadly Grounds Coffee. Here's Father Evil talking about coffee.
Father Evil starts his day. He gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds Coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
A dead zone somewhere in Millbury. So.
No worries. And it was like timed with my phone. Like for some reason, it still had Patrick on the line when we were trying to do a party call earlier.
Like I don't see that.
No. So I restarted my phone. So we are back. That was Deadly Grounds Coffee, and as I said, I'm drinking Death by Chocolate. And what I love about Deadly Grounds is it doesn't give you that like bad aftertaste that some coffee does. It's just a really mellow, awesome taste. You can find out more if you check the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Deadly Grounds, getdeadly.com, and also all the awesome people here. Plenty of links in the show notes down below or up above. There's also a Facebook event where if you go to that, you can follow along with all the different shows and their dates. And a lot of awesome stuff. And so I think it's about time we give this show's secret phrase. You think it's about time?
I think that's a good idea.
I'm ready.
Okay. So the...
Hey! No, that wasn't it.
Can you use the phrase in the form of a sentence?
No, I'm not that smart. So the secret phrase for this episode is "No Man Knows." No man knows. So you take that and combine it with the secret phrases from the other episodes. And once you have the sentence, message me on Facebook, Leo Pond, and then you'll be put in the drawing to be pulled out of. We're gonna have 3 winners, and actually I'll go over the prizes here. So first prize, and we'll put this on the website and the event so everybody knows. First prize is a Diamond Select Trevor, along with the awesome Castlevania original soundtrack record by Ridoctopus. And after that, the Super NES Castlevania 4 cart, and then an iTunes card by Amalga-Cast, also along with a Google Play card and a actually the Trevor figure I said already. Second prize is Simon Amiibo, along with the NES Castlevania cart, and then Dracula Funko Pop.
Sounds delicious. Oh, Funko.
Nice. And then third prize is a paperback book for Castlevania, a Castlevania poster, a Trevor Funko Pop, and a Blue Fangs Funko Pop.
Yep.
Trevor Funko Pop. You won't be getting this one though. This one's mine.
Yeah.
He stays here.
No, the one you're getting is in a box and new.
Nice.
Very new. Much newer than the one you just saw.
Epic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty rad. I love that thing.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
The
he's like reaching. He's like.
Sadly, I
It's
haven't.
hard to do
Sadly, I
from
haven't.
that small screen.
I know, right? Too much awesome for this small screen.
Angela says there's a puppet on somebody's shoulder.
It's not he's a puppet right now. That's Hobbs. He is being controlled off screen, but
By the mistress of Merlot.
I'm a real boy.
he said he's a real boy.
He's
The Michael,
clearly drunk.
the Michael Phelps of wine, the LeBron Jordan of hand puppets.
The LeBron Jordan of hand puppets. I'm fine.
Jim says so much for combos, button mashing for to win. Angela says there's a I messaged that already, and Jim says it's the truth, it's actual, everything is satisfactual.
Okay. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Back to
Satisfactual
the Christogrim. I just want to shout out to my other favorite, Leo, because you're going through Symphony of the Night for the first time. The other thing you got to look out for. So there's 2 items you need. Okay.
Okay.
Now this is if you like farming. Do you like farming?
I do.
No one likes farming, but will you do
Real
it?
life farming or
No, not real life farming.
I've done real life farming, and actually I like farming in video games. It's like,
So you're gonna have to kill that shmoo for a long time, and unless you get really lucky. Another one is you got to kill the cave troll. I don't remember where the cave troll is, but it's a little orange
in the cave.
enemy. Say it again, Boss Rush.
In the cave.
It's in the cave. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's in the cave. And he drops a necklace called the Noglamir, and it is the best defensive item in the game.
oh,
You got to pay the troll toll.
Yeah, so you need that. And then That's in the right side up castle, the regular castle, I'm pretty sure. But when you get to the inverted castle, so
Leo has no idea what we're talking about with this inverted right side up stuff either. It's like this is his first time through this game, so he's gonna find out.
Yeah, actually,
it's gonna blow his mind.
Hashtag kill the shmoo.
I pulled.
Yeah, get the shmoo.
Get the shmoo.
And then there's one more enemy you got to farm.
Okay.
You want me to lay it on you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Inverted castle, go all the way back to the very beginning opening room, the very opening hallway to the game. And there's a room that's full of enemies, and there's this little tiny bird. It looks like a chicken with a witch's head on the ground. And it's called the dodo. And there's only one in the whole game. It's just that one in that one room. And it gets scared.
And he'll run away from you like almost immediately, so you got to get to him fast.
Yeah, you got to go in the room, and you'll see it, and you'll be like, oh my God, it's the thing Steve was talking about. And then you got to go quick because it runs away. And if you kill this thing over and over and over again, you're going to get eventually it'll drop the rune sword. And the rune sword is really cool because it actually, when you swing it, it shoots like almost all the way across the screen, like 3/4 of the way across the screen. And this big arc, and in the arc it says the word verboten, which means forbidden in German. And I probably screwed it up, but yeah, it's just a really awesome weapon. I always like that one too. And if you're crazy like me, I got 2, so I had like 1 for each hand because Alucard you can equip both hands.
Yeah.
So it was like.
I always liked equipping a Chrysogrim for like directly in front of you, and then that other sword, the rune sword, because it'll the arc slot is over the range of the Chrysogrim, so you've got even more ground covered. Yeah. And you just look like an ultimate badass doing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jim says my first shmoo would probably drop the sword. No, I'm not that lucky. Probably about 400, and I'll maybe get it.
Yeah, it takes a while sometimes. It's really
I remember one time I was playing this game.
Farming.
And, I remember one time I was playing this game, and I was actually saying this to my wife, like, I'm probably going to be here a while because I got to kill. Oh my God, he just dropped it. It was like the second one I killed. No. And I was like, okay, well, I got the sword now. So I was just about to explain to her that I might be here for like half an hour killing the same enemy over and over again, and bam, the second one I killed dropped the sword. I'm like, oh, awesome. You're my good luck charm. Stay here. But that's never happened again, I assure you.
I used to play WoW, so I'm used to farming. So it's
there you go.
Yeah, that whole game is just farming.
That's a lot of farming.
We'll kill hundreds of thousands of boars.
30,062,522,000.
So I mean, I know we'll talk about this on another show, but that's actually one of the things I was a little disappointed about was in 2. After replaying it, I mean, last time I played it was when it was originally out for NES, and I was using the Nintendo Power maps and stuff. But the experience stops collecting in certain areas, like once you get powerful enough. So that this doesn't happen in that game, right? Or
I don't remember if you
Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, I don't remember.
If I recall correctly, you still get experience, but it does it's either greatly diminished or the amount that you need for the next level is just so high that it's just so minuscule amount that you can kill zombies over and over again and probably get like 1 experience point each time after a while, but then you'll need 500,000 points experience to get to the next level. So it's like, okay, why am I going to kill 500,000 zombies?
Yeah, after all,
for the thrill.
What's for the throw? After all my weapons were taken away, I went back to the original starting point and tried fighting those wolves and got my ass kicked quite quickly.
I'm at my final destination, so guys, I gotta jump off the call. Leo, I'll see you at the New England Comic Con thingy, Boxborough, on Friday.
Awesome, thank you so much, Chris, and we'll make sure that we push your episode. And
I'm like he's on the phone, he can see me saluting and bye.
Bye.
So that's Chris from Boob's Blood and Badasses, covering the bloody history of Castlevania, and you'll find his episode March 22nd with his secret phrase. And thank you for joining us, Chris, and I'll see you Friday.
Definitely.
Okay. Bye.
And for those who may be a little confused, I hope we're being clear with the little bit of the secret message that you got today. That's part 1, and if you follow the schedule that we have posted everywhere for the Dorkening, every show is listed in order and has a number, and that's the order that you put the secret message in. So we're right now, this is number 1, and the second one is also the Dorkening, so you're going to get that. I think that's Wednesday, right?
Correct. Wednesday, yep.
So that'll be part 2. That goes right after today's message, which was what was it again, Leo?
Today's message was No Man Knows.
No man knows.
No man knows. And
No man is the most negative superhero.
No, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up, Patsy.
No man knows is today's secret phrase, and then like Steve pointed out, just make sure you listen to each show in order.
There it is.
And then put all the phrases together. Send that sentence to me, and then on the final day, the 25th, we're gonna pick 3 winners for those awesome prizes we mentioned earlier, including the Castlevania record, some actual cartridges for Castlevania and Super Castlevania, Funko Pops, Amiibos, a Diamond Select Trevor. Some awesome stuff, including iTunes card, Google Play card. But listen earlier on for the actual tiers, and I'll post them on this episode as well, so everybody knows, and the event.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and a lot of fun information. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
a lot of stuff to win, though, too.
Oh, totally.
And a lot of awesome podcasts to hear.
That's right.
Yeah, so hopefully, along the way, you're going to discover some new shows that you weren't listening to before, because we got a lot of awesome stuff on the Dorkening, and a lot of new shows are joining all the time. This crazy network Leo and Kevin started, it's just growing by leaps and bounds.
Oh, totally. You guys are doing some awesome stuff. I love listening to each and every one of you, and it's just absolutely love everything that you're doing, and hope everybody continues to listen to other shows as well. And so that's what it's all about. It's a huge collaboration to try to get more people to watch different shows on the network, and it's an absolute blast. I want to thank you guys for coming up with the idea, and just I think this is a great collaboration event.
Yeah, it was Chris's initial idea, and we just ran with it, and it turned into something pretty fun. So hopefully people like it. And if it turns out to be a success, and we're getting people who are brave enough to try to put together that secret message, hey, let's we can do more of these. We if it's what people like, we can
franchises.
Do a couple more. Maybe we do 1 or 2 a year or something or whatever.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's all up to you guys.
That's true.
So
if you want it, we'll give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about a little bit about your shows if people aren't familiar with it. Let's start with you guys for Retro Ridoctopus.
Okay, we are a nostalgia cast that we focus on pretty much stuff that we loved when we were kids. So we, most of us grew up in the 70s and 80s, but also 90s. We have 4 hosts, and we're of different ages. So between those 3 decades, we have a lot of nostalgia for a lot of things, and we try to keep it loosey-goosey as long as it falls into that category. So we do a lot of video games, movies, TV shows. We also do toys. We've done board games. We do music. We had an episode that was all about TV theme songs, and
breakfast
every once in a
cereal.
while we'll mix it up, and we'll actually play music as a little bit of a format, which is why we thought that the Castlevania music would be a good fit for us. It's also an interest, specifically, at least two of our hosts are way into video game music and composers, one of which is Mr. Boss Rush Mode, who's here. And the other is 8-Bit Alchemy, who's one of our hosts. And we try to keep it fresh. Every episode is hosted by a different one of us, so the main host rotates, and we kind of just keep it keep it loosey-goosey and have fun. And then we always have an Octoponder This question, which is at the end we will ask some question of our fans that is topical to what we're talking about, and we try to have fun with that. And they'll come on and answer it on the usually on the Facebook group. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes we have guests. We've had Patsy and Ashes on from Throwdown Thursday, and we've had various other people. We don't want to become an interview show, but we're happy to have people on that are local creators of various things that we're happy to support. And I'm occasional, just an occasional sort of thing. But yeah, come check us out. We're goofy. We try to have fun. We try to be funny, and everybody likes remembering the stuff that they liked when they were kids. So
just remember, with a face like this, I have to be funny.
And I mean, nostalgia is everybody. I mean, that's the thing nowadays. Just trying to remember when we were kids and all the stuff we loved growing up. I absolutely love what you guys do. And Patrick, with your Throwdown Thursday.
So Throwdown Thursday, we take characters and we break them down the way some shows do movie reviews. So we'll take any character from any medium, doesn't matter. Our most recent show that came out last week was on the characters of The Land Before Time. We've done Godzilla a couple times. You guys joined us for our Godzilla episodes, where we talked about the creatures who were going to be, or the kaiju that were going to be in the King of the Monsters film. So we had you guys on for that. We did Steve. We had Steve on for our episode of Colon Smash about the Hulk. We've done books, TV shows, movies, video games, you name it. We tend to have guests on occasion, depending on what the subject matter is. Everybody from Dee Wallace from E.T. and Cujo, to Mike Price, who's a writer for The Simpsons, to other podcasters, local filmmakers, our friends, people who are passionate about specific characters that we cover. And I also do a show called Shark Bites, which is there's no real format for that show. It could be an interview with a filmmaker. I could talk about handicap accessibility at concert venues, or my most recent show where I talked about tips and tricks for avoiding the coronavirus straight off the CDC website. So I try to be educational as well as informative. It's infotainment.
Nice. Jim asks, so who actually created the original Castlevania? I noticed that the credits scene, the names seem like pseudonyms.
That I don't know.
Well, Konami was a video game developer that created the game, but as far as like directors and the specific people who worked on it, I don't know that off the top of my head.
I just pulled up the Wikipedia, and the director was Hitoshi Akamatsu, and the producer designer was Ahiko Nagata, and I know I'm butchering these names. The programmer was Nobuhiro Matsuoka, and then the artist was Noriyasu Tagahushi.
And like the viewer was mentioning, like a lot, especially back in the 80s, like those Nintendo games, a lot of them went by pseudonyms. So it's like you'll have to dig to get their actual names, because I don't remember the exact reason why they did that. I think one thing I did hear, because a lot of these people would work on other projects with different video game developers, so I guess they just didn't want their name. Maybe it was some sort of a contractual thing, but they didn't want their actual name to show up for two different video game companies' games, so they just used pseudonyms or whatever. I could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I've heard.
And I think at that particular time, it wasn't like this point of pride thing. Like, you did work, you want credit for it, you want to be remembered for that thing that you did. Like, if you're in a movie, they're gonna put your name in there. Even if you were like the best grip or whatever, the
best boy.
Yeah, the best boy and the grips, and I don't know. But like with video games, I think
the boy grip.
It wasn't like I think at the time, video games were kind of just like silly. It's like we're making stuff for kids. Nobody really cares. I don't think it was like this respected thing that they even cared at the time. So they're like, just call me whatever. I mean, but then again, look at us.
Papa.
A lot of us have goofy podcasting names.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not me.
That's Parasite to you.
I remember back then there really wasn't any big names in video game, creators. It's other than like Sid Meier's Civilization, or Peter Molyneux for his games on like Xbox. What was that? What was that role-playing game he did where you could be good or evil?
Oh, Fable.
Fable, yeah.
Fable.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, up until then, there really wasn't any, as far as I remember, just big names.
Hideo Kojima put his name on pretty much everything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, now people are looking for, creators, like you say, Kojima.
Yeah.
And what's that? What's the game he just came out with where you're...
Death Stranding.
Yeah, you're like a postal carrier.
Yeah, Norman Reedus.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If we were all books, would Norman read us?
And babies, crazy babies.
Have you
I
got?
don't know.
I know this is off subject, but it's still a Sony title. But
Kojima is involved with Castlevania, or at least was briefly, partially. I mean, I think he was slightly involved with Lords of Shadow. I think he was did some character design or something.
Huh. That's
Didn't
cool.
know that.
Yeah. Have you guys played Death Stranding?
I have not.
No.
I haven't yet. No.
One of our hosts, Apid Alchemy, loves it.
Yeah.
He's really enjoying it.
It seems like one of those games where people go into it already loving it or already hate it. So it's basically Death Stranding, subtitle confirmation the video game or confirmation bias the video game. So it's like, I don't know. I do want to try it out. I mean, I'll be admittedly I'm not the biggest Hideo Kojima fan, but I do want to try the game out at least just to see what it's all about.
It looks interesting. Like really weird.
Yeah, I know 8-Bit said that he's like, by all rights this game should be pretentious and awful, but it's just awesome. He's like, it's just for some reason fun and I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, you get to drink Monster Energy drinks and make piss and shit bombs, so
yeah.
Oh, good to know. So I just wanted to play this here. If you missed it, our Dork-Vania commercial with Patrick here. You guys might be able to hear it. It's going to be overlaying. So here we go.
Greetings, children of the night. You are hereby invited to attend the Dorkening Network's 8-part crossover event, Dork-Vania. It all starts with the Dorkening on Sunday, March 8th, with a live show kicking off this ambitious endeavor. Then continues on March 11th when the Dorks will again be live to discuss the Castlevania Anniversary Video Game Collection.
I hope so.
Then, on March 12th, Throwdown Thursday will be giving all the grave details about the Belmont family, along with a special guest, followed by Super Retro Throwback reviews covering games 1 through 4 on the original Nintendo on March 15th. On March 17th, tune in to Retro Ridoctopus for their episode breaking down the music of Castlevania. Then catch the Amalga-Cast on March 20th to get caught up on the Netflix anime. Followed by Boob's Blood and Badasses covering the bloody history of the Castlevania franchise on March 22nd. Each episode will be dropping a part of a secret phrase that you must piece together in order to win some fabulous Castlevania prizes. And the series wraps up on March 25th with another live Dorkening podcast. Make sure to follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to find out how to win. We promise this event won't suck. We know what's at stake. Wait, who wrote this?
I've been checking my email.
Play! Dork-Vania, this month on the Dorkening Network. If you miss it, you must be bad. Oh, come on!
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so hopefully everybody heard that. I overlaid it. The meter was bouncing, so you must have heard it. But I just love the promos you do, Patrick. It's just you have so much.
They're fun. I enjoy them.
Yeah, you guys have so much raw talent. It's just amazing. Like I say, I'm just a monkey that pushes the buttons, so don't expect much from me.
Raw talent. That explains why everyone I meet gets salmonella.
It's not just a coincidence.
And trichinosis.
It's Patsy.
So I think we're coming up on time here. So was there any last thoughts on Symphony of the Night or this awesome event that you guys would like to bring up? Steve?
I think it's going to be a good time.
Favorite boss in Symphony of the Night is definitely the 2.5 screen high Galamoth.
Oh.
Who's this giant dinosaur sort of guy. And he's actually a reference to the Japanese only Nintendo game that was it was Kid Dracula, and it was actually supposed to be Alucard as a little kid, and it's a really fun NES game. You can play it now. You can easily get your hands on it, a ROM or whatever, and it's really fun. But Galamoth is actually the main boss of that game, and they worked him into this and gave him a massive redesign, and he's just amazing. I love that boss.
Actually,
also Nosferatu gets a little reference because Count Orlok is actually a boss in the game as well. So that's pretty fun.
Oh wow. Kid Dracula is actually part of that anniversary set.
Oh yeah.
The Castlevania.
So you guys are going to be talking about that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, I haven't played too much. I'll play a little more today. But it's a fun little game what I played so far.
It is. It's fun.
The Game Boy one though that's painfully slow.
Yeah, there are 3 Game Boy games for the original Game Boy, and they're all really slow. I mean, the processing power of that little system wasn't too high. Like I remember playing even the Mega Man games, and you're watching his bullets slowly make its way across the screen. You're like,
yeah. I think part of that may have been at the time you had those small screens, especially when they're not being backlit. If anything moved too fast, you weren't going to see it at all.
That is true. That is true. Maybe it was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember having those games be so easy because of the slowdown. It was just.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But as far as Retro Ridoctopus, check out our most recent episode. It is on Monty Python. It is a tribute to Terry Jones, and we called it A Very Naughty Boy. And it is a very fun episode. We all kind of took turns and presented we each took one of the 4 Monty Python movies and talked about it, and that was really, really fun. And our next episode is actually going to be the Dork-Vania one, the music of Castlevania, and that is going to air a week from Tuesday on, as you said, March 17th. And all our episodes always come out on Tentacle Tuesday, which is every other Tuesday. And please check us out if you're interested in reliving crap you loved as a kid. Then check us out. We're fun.
Nice.
Is that right, Rush?
No, Steve pretty much covered. We just talked about all the things that made growing up awesome, and if you like awesome stuff, then hopefully you'll think we're awesome too.
We all think you're awesome, Patrick.
Let's see. Yeah, our next episode is going to be the Castlevania episode, Ring My Belmonts. Our most recent episode is as I mentioned, The Land Before Time. We called it the Dynamite Adventures of Littlefoot. And most of our shows have puns. I will say, as much grief as Steve gives me for all my awesome puns that I do, he actually came up with the title Ring My Belmonts. So,
well, I mean, it was for you. It was for you.
It's true.
That was a tailor-made title. I also didn't think you were going to use it.
No, we're absolutely using that. That's amazing. That's a great title. So yeah,
it's about the main characters of the Castlevania series, also the works of Debbie Harry.
Yes. And yes,
we
will be.
I just thought of an awesome team up that you have to do. This has to happen. You need to do a show with James Balsamo. Do you know James Balsamo?
I do. I actually have his pun book. It was gifted to me. I do have that.
If you're interested, I can put you in contact with him. He's been on a door.
And pontificates.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice boss rush mode. But yeah, we will have that episode this week with James Lamond from It Came from the 508 Studios and came from 508 Productions, who was just on with Wicked Horror Show last week. That whole crew was on. So definitely check out that episode. They're all awesome people. Check out that episode. It's going to be a good time. And I think that's about it for what we're doing this week.
Awesome.
Yeah. Check out Shark Bites too, guys.
Oh yeah, please, because there's like 5 people that listen to that show, so I could use some more listeners, especially if you want to learn. 6. Yeah, especially if you want to learn how be my chum. How not to contract the coronavirus. And I even did a sports episode, which is weird because no one does sports on our network, but I did one about Tom Brady and Mookie Betts. So.
Boss Rush feels your pain on that. He's the big sports fan of the group, and none of us really are. But we did do an episode in season 1 that was sporting entertainment, where we did like the glow wrestlers and stuff, and various things like from the 80s that were not sports but adjacent.
American Gladiators.
That was one of our most popular episodes. That was in the top 10 for sure.
Not to be confused with Roman Gladiators.
American Gladiators type stuff.
What did you think of Glow on Netflix?
I liked it. Yeah. That's got the 3 seasons. I mean, the third one was kind of a drop off, but I still enjoyed it. But yeah, the first 2 seasons, are definitely really good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot.
I hear they're grabbing Zoya. Possibly she's going to be the next She-Hulk, or she's going to be She-Hulk.
Oh, really? Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah. She's a tiny little thing, but she was great in that show.
Yeah. Last time we were at Super Mega Fest, there was somebody cosplaying as her. It was awesome.
Nice. Zoya the Destroyer.
Yeah. So I want to thank you all for checking out this episode. And if you're just tuning in, just rewind for the special phrase. So we're going to be doing, there's going to be 7 episodes in the series with phrases. And then on the 8th, we're going to be announcing the winners. So this episode is March 8th for the Dorkening, our kickoff event. Next is going to be the actual Dorkening show on Wednesday on 3/11 with James and Yo-Yo and possibly Patrick. And then Throwdown Thursday, Ring My Belmonts on the 12th. Super Retro Throwback Reviews is doing What a Horrible Night We Have a Curse, or To Have a Curse on 3/15, talking about the Castlevania 1 through 4. Retro Ridoctopus.
Well, to be fair, if you have a curse, it is a horrible night.
It is. The next episode is Retro Ridoctopus on the 17th. Then Amalga-Cast is on the 20th. Boobs, Bloods, and Badasses on the 22nd. And then the finale here on the 25th, where we announce the winners. So make sure you listen to every episode, subscribe to every episode, and follow every episode or every show on the Dorkening Podcast Network, and then send me that phrase, and then we will pick 3 awesome winners.
Yes.
Lambast Boswick approves.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.